Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christys tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
It's 9 p.m. on a Friday night, which means only one thing. It's time for my live studio audience show. Would you ban the burqa? And
you're probably speaking to quite a lot of older people. Are you getting any anger from them that Labour have scrapped their winter fuel allowance?
Yes, there is.
What do you say to them? Do you think they were right to scrap the winter fuel payment for pensioners?
They were hard decisions to take.
Do you think they were right?
Well, they were very hard decisions to take.
Do you think they were? You back them on it?
How on earth did Labour win with that guy? Also tonight, a gong for golden balls. Should David Beckham really get a knighthood? Plus... Is it OK to not want white people to be a minority in Britain? And...
Now, who would still eat this?
Labour's free school meals plan. Is that a massive waste of money? And...
Been stabbed twice in the chest.
Fall from parachute, hard landing.
Are you afraid of having to use the NHS? And what on earth is going on here?
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
But of course, it's time to meet the real stars of the show. It's my live studio audience. Play those titles. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you. How are you? Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Great to see you. How are you doing? All right. Lovely to see you all. Yes.
Well done, everybody. Happy Friday. Right. Oh, what a time to be alive. You love to see it. Well, it's a good job there's been a bit of news around this week, isn't it? So let me introduce you to my wonderful panel. We've got the Labour MP for Brent West, Barry Gardner. Oh, I thought I heard some boos at the back there, Barry. Anyway, we've got GB News superstar Emily Carver. Broadcasting royalty Christo Foodfast. And tabloid hotshot is JJ Adasobi. Well, we've got a heck of a lot to talk about tonight. We are going to start with one of the big issues of the day. Just quickly, feel for the room. Would anyone here want to ban the burqa? Yep. Yeah. Oh, OK, all right. Some people got the ball rolling there. All right. Get ready, Britain. Here we go.
Good evening. It's just after 9 o'clock. Here are your latest GB News headlines. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch says Britain is being mugged over migration. In her speech this morning, Miss Badenoch claimed the European Convention on Human Rights is now being used in ways never intended by its original authors. The move followed recent government efforts to limit its influence on UK immigration cases amid growing concerns that the treaty is obstructing deportation policies and legal reforms. President Trump has accused Elon Musk of losing his mind in the latest escalation in the row between the pair. Speaking to the US media, the president revealed he is not interested in speaking to the tech mogul. It comes after Musk alleged the president appears in files relating to the disgraced paedophile financer Jeffrey Epstein. Meanwhile, President Trump has confirmed senior White House officials will meet with a Chinese delegation in London on Monday for another round of trade talks. The meeting comes after a phone call between Mr. Trump and the Chinese leader Xi Jinping yesterday, which the US president described as very positive. The Health Secretary has announced nearly £450 million is being invested into the NHS in England to cut hospital waiting times. West Streeting says the NHS reform is to deliver around 40 new centres to fast-track treatment for patients, up to 15 mental health crisis assessment units and almost 500 new ambulances. It's part of an attempt to shift patients away from A&E and avoid unnecessary hospital admissions. A BBC bargain hunt art expert who failed to report a series of high-value art sales to a man suspected of financing militant group Hezbollah has been jailed for 2.5 years. Agena Ochuka Origi sold artwork worth around £140,000 to Nazim Ahmed, a man designated by US authorities as a suspected financer for the proscribed terrorist organisation. Tottenham Hotspur have sacked manager Ange Postecoglou. The Australian led Spurs to their first trophy in 17 years with a 1-0 victory over Manchester United in the Europa League final last month. However, the sacking follows Tottenham's woeful Premier League campaign, which saw them finish 17th in the table with 22 defeats. And finally, the bull that was seen on the loose on the streets of Birmingham has now been captured. West Midlands Police say officers were made aware of the animal in the Digbeth area at around 9:30 this morning. The force added that it was working with Birmingham City Council to ensure that the animal was taken to a safe location. It's so far unclear as to where the bull came from. Well, those are your latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Lewis Mackenzie. More from me in an hour's time.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Fantastic. Look at this full house. You love to see it. You love to see it. All right, well, what a day for political news.
Thankfully for us, we have an ace up our sleeve. We have a real leader. In Nigel Farage, we have a real leader. We have someone to inspire us in the belief that victory is possible. He inspired me, he has inspired you, he will continue to inspire millions across this great country.
And he's gone. Ex-Reform Chairman Zia Youssef has quit, perhaps because of this.
Given the Prime Minister's desire to strengthen strategic alignment with our European neighbours, will he, in the interests of public safety, follow the lead of France, Denmark, Belgium and others and ban the burqa?
And then last night, somehow, this guy won the Hamilton by-election.
You're probably speaking to quite a lot of older people. Are you getting any anger from them that Labour have scrapped their winter fuel allowance?
Yes, there is.
What do you say to them? You back them on it?
On the doorsteps here, people are...
Yeah, but you back the government. You back the Prime Minister and the Chancellor. You can just tell me yes or no.
Well, I wasn't involved in the decision.
Right, you're paying his wages, so that's great, isn't it? Fantastic. Anyway, Labour won, but surely, that guy's skin colour is a blow to their leader, Anas Sarwar.
Every chief executive of every council and every government department, white. Every director of a department in Scotland, white.
New Hamilton MP, white. Anyway, let's go back to burqas. So it's not controversial to want to ban it here because here are the other countries that have. France, Belgium, Norway, the Netherlands, Austria, Cameroon, Chad, Congo. There's plenty of others as well. So what I want to know tonight is, should Britain ban the burqa? I'm going to go straight to an audience member, I believe. Oh, lady on the front row.
Hi.
With
Hi,
my
Patrick.
Sharon, is it?
Hi, yeah.
Where have you come from, Sharon?
I'm from Wimbledon.
From Wimbledon, lovely part of the world. So go on, what would you like to say about the burqa, Sharon?
So, after Zia Youssef resigned as Reform UK chairman in a row over the burqa, is Reform UK MP Sarah Pokin right that the burqa should be banned?
OK, all right. Let's get a feel for the room then. So just by way of noise, who's pro-burqa ban? Fair enough. Oh, just for the sake of balance, would anyone not ban the burqa? Right. OK. Right. I will start with you, Christo. Are you banning the burqa?
Well, firstly, I wish Reform would stop rowing. I mean, it's like handbags at dawn. I know it's Pride Month, but they're taking it a bit far, if you ask me. Look, I would, and I'll tell you why I would. And it's because... Well, firstly, anyone that is saying that it's illiberal or non-libertarian to ban it, we ban loads of things in this country. The government is interfering in parts of our life that they shouldn't interfere in at all. So banning is not a strange concept. It sexualises women by making out that they are sexual objects that need to cover themselves. It makes out all men being Neanderthals who can't control themselves round them, which is why they need to cover themselves. It promotes inequality because Islamic men don't have to wear them. I'm very concerned about children having to wear them in some form or other. They create a barrier between a person and the society in which they are supposed to be integrating. It is not a choice that many of people who wear the burqa do, because it's pressure from their own community. Now, all of those people who are saying that it is not a libertarian thing to ban the burqa, well, let's see how libertarian they are when it comes to burning the Quran or having a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad. Suddenly, that libertarian argument would sail away. OK, so that's my view.
Now, given that the burqa disproportionately affects women, we probably should go to the lady on the panel. Emily, are you banning the burqa?
It winds me up as well when people use the language of liberalism to defend something that is the antithesis of those liberal values and of Western liberal values. It is so enraging, and comparing the burqa to a medical mask or comparing it to a helmet or something like that, it's totally different. It's got a lot of baggage compared to those items, let's say. But I'm not sure if a ban would work on the streets, for example. Can you imagine police going around and enforcing that? We can't even enforce a vape ban, so I'm not sure if they'd be able to enforce that. But in public bodies, in public buildings, in schools, in courts, in libraries and other places, I think it should be banned. In this country, people show their faces. People show their faces. It is a basic way that we interact with one another. I am most concerned, well, apart from those women who are coerced into wearing it, I am most concerned with women who choose to wear it. Why are you choosing to wear a burqa in this country? it puts up that barrier immediately. You're saying, I want to hide my identity. How can there be any accountability in any public space? Do something wrong, no one knows what you're saying. Who's going to talk to you? It's impossible. Anyway,
all right.
go on about this.
JJ, go on.
Yeah, I don't think... I lived in the Middle East. I spoke to women who'd wear burqas or niqabs. Lots of women I spoke to wear it because they choose to. We can't put our own aspersions and our own feelings onto them. If people say they choose to wear it, then they choose to wear it. My personal feeling on the matter is that, as lots of people know, I always talk about my grandma. She was Danish. In Denmark in 2018, they banned burqas. They also banned balaclavas, any kind of face covering in public. And it's enforced because the police will go up to you and they'll give you a fine, and that's how it's enforced. And in Denmark, it works fine. But I think if we're going to ban the burqa, we should absolutely ban in balaclavas, because I'm not afraid when I see women in balaclavas, in burqas.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I don't know if people see this, you probably do when you get on public transport, you're walking around the street. You know, you're starting to see an increasing number of young blokes walking around in balaclavas.
Yeah.
Well, why are you doing that? What are you up to? You know, and it's not nice, is it? And you think, well, there's little chance anyway, if you presented the police with a clear mugshot of their face to begin with, that they might come and nick them if they decide to steal your phone, let alone if they got a balaclava. Barry, your views on this? So the Prime Minister kind of scoffed at it, didn't answer the question, so where are you on it?
Well, I think the important points that were made by all three of the panel are about freedom of choice. I mean, I think as a man, I wouldn't tell any woman what she ought to wear, and I don't think it's right that we go round prescribing that women can or cannot wear this or that. When it comes to the burqa, it seems to me that if you're going to ban it, you've got to say, on what basis are you banning it? And I think the basis that they banned it in Morocco, for example, and I think that's what the sort of thing you were alluding to, JJ, is that it was banned on security grounds. And that, it seems to me, then it follows that you then have to say, yeah, OK, we're going to ban balaclavas as well. But, you know, these are things which are, you know, all-encompassing, aren't they? But we never had the same problem about all-encompassing when it was a nun, because that was part of our cultural tradition. And that's a key difference. That's exactly the key difference. But so it's not the all-enveloping garment. It is the issue of, if we have a society that wants to engage with each other, that wants to be open and transparent, and where you can judge people, as we all do, by their facial expressions, then I think it's important that we can see each other. But I don't think that in itself gives rise to a ban. The security situation might, if there were evidence.
Well, there has been a case, there was a guy who was from Somalia, who was believed to be a member of Al-Shabaab. He went into an East London mosque not wearing the burqa, came out wearing a burqa, went on the run, a classic of the genre. There is somebody else who has got a point on this. There he is, that man there. Is it possible to just... We'll get someone to whiz the microphone over to him. There you go, pass it on over. Sir, what's your name? Where do you come from?
Hello, Patrick. Hello, everybody. My name's Glyn Evans. I'm from Portsmouth, and my wife is with me, Rachel, also
there you go.
from Portsmouth.
Fantastic. God, she wanted to be on the telly as well, so there you go.
Yes, exactly, yes, here she is.
What would you like to say?
I would like to now listening to all of the comments on this, it's changed my question slightly, but now I'd like to ask the panel, do you think that Zia Youssef would still be the chairman of the Reform Party had Sarah Pochin not said burqa, she said face coverings?
OK, it's an interesting question, because this was the rumour, wasn't it, that really, or the suggestion, that he'd gone... Well, what pushed him over the edge was the idea that she'd raised the burqa thing. He called it dumb on social media. Christo, what do you think about that? Do you think that...
I'd have said both. I'd have said the burqa and other face coverings. I'd have said both, because I think that face coverings is a really fair point, and it makes the really good argument about the balaclava and all of those sorts of things. But it also doesn't raise the point about inequality. No one wears a balaclava because they would have social stigma from their own community for not wearing one. So I think that I would have said probably both, and I think that's a really fair point, and it might have tempered some of the disagreements.
So just again, feel for the room. Is anyone here concerned that reform might be falling apart? No.
Concerned would be the wrong word.
OK, well, yeah, Barry would be like... No, but it's interesting. Was anyone here who might be a Reform voter or sympathetic to Reform or whatever, was anyone here particularly bothered that Zia Youssef has gone? Yes. Yes. Who's on yes? Who's on... Well, so, Steve, you've got the mic already. Why are you bothered that he's gone? Go on.
Well, I think he's an absolute perfect figurehead. I mean, listening to Nigel Farage, I do believe Nigel Farage and what he said, and complimentary to Zia yesterday. He has worked hard. He's been there for 11 months. He's the perfect guy, which I think that we'd like to see as the chairman.
OK.
Not knowing the whole depth of it, but I just think he comes over very, very well. And it's very obvious that he's worked very hard to get Reform exactly where they are.
Yeah, all right. Well, Emily, your views on this. Do you think that this is a problem for Reform, that Zia Youssef has gone after the Burka comments?
Well, it's difficult because we don't actually know if it was the Burka question that pushed him over the edge, whether it was the fact he wasn't consulted on the question or whether it was the question in and of itself. Because if he is against a member of Parliament and a member of his party asking that question, then I think that is problematic. Then that is problematic. But I don't know. I'm sure the party will be fine without Zia Youssef, but I don't think it's great for their, the optics, is it?
Fine. Jojo, I just wonder, even if... I mean, look, the obvious answer for Keir Starmer to have said about the Burka ban was just no. There's no way in hell that Keir Starmer wants to ban the Burka. So that begs the question for me, why didn't he just say no? But I do worry that there would be riots on the streets if we decided to ban the Burka, and maybe that in itself says something about integration in Britain.
I think maybe there'd be some riots in some areas, but I don't think it would be across the whole country. It'd just be in smaller areas where there's a large population of people who support the Burka. But speaking of what point Emily made earlier about saying women shouldn't be told how to dress by men, before we came on stage, I heard Patrick, I don't know what they're talking about, but I heard Patrick saying to Emily, more boob, more boob. That's all. I'm just saying. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Can I just say what a pleasure it is to have you back, Jojo? I've been away for a few weeks. No, it's all right. Barry's gone, yeah.
I thought this was a family show.
Do you know what JJ said to me? He said if you've got twins in there, it's not a large. So there you go.
I'm really annoyed you said that to someone else, actually.
All right.
And could I just point out that when I did help Emily do this, I did say that now I can say I've tied the knot with Emily.
OK. I don't know, but what we're saying is got weird.
But it was innocent. It was innocent.
Move on. We're going to whiz ourselves on. We are right out of time. I kind of wish we'd maybe moved on about 2 minutes ago. Anyway, look, we've got loads more coming your way. Thank you to everyone who's already got involved. It's a lively audience tonight. We love to see it, but I know the reason you're all here. All right, it's not me. It's not everyone else.
Hey.
It's time for the Great British Giveaway. Yeah.
Has the camper van finally gone?
It has, yes. It's a good job you didn't win it, because you would have put the campaign camper van. We are counting down your best summer so far. It's £54,321 in tax-free cash that can be won. It's the biggest cash prize yet, and it could all be yours. Here's how.
It's our biggest cash prize to date, and you could win it. £54,321 in totally tax-free cash could make your year the best yet. How would you react if you got that winning call?
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
£54,321 could make you our biggest cash winner to date. For a chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck, everybody. Coming up.
They have taken a life, and as a result, our lives have been changed forever.
Killer kids. It was the crime that shocked the nation. 80-year-old Bim Coley was savagely attacked by 2 teenagers. It was a 13-year-old girl. She was spared jail. We're not allowed to name either of them. Should we name kids who kill? Because at the moment, one of them has got off scot-free. Yeah, I want to get your views in a second. Stay tuned.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
News channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
To Patrick Christys tonight with my wonderful live studio audience. OK, so very, very keen to get people's views on this topic. So a 16-year-old boy and a 13-year-old girl were sentenced for the horrific killing of an 80-year-old pensioner. It's a crime that frankly shocked Britain, OK, rocked the nation. Bim Coley died the day after he was assaulted in a park in Leicester last year. He was out walking his dog, just going about his business. Now, he was racially abused. He was slapped in the face with basically a slider shoe, a slipper, by that 16-year-old boy. The 13-year-old girl was filming it, was laughing, etc. Anyway, the actual sentences that they got, the boy, 7-year prison sentence, the girl avoided jail. OK? She's going to go to a 3-year rehabilitation order. She's got a 6-month curfew. I mean, I don't even know what that means, so whatever. But neither of them can be named because they're under the age of 18. I think I've got a little clip of you now of... oh, no, we don't. OK, fair enough. Well, after the sentencing, anyway, there was one of the man's relatives who just said how horrific it was. I want to know, again, just in this room, because this is a very grey area for people, should people who are under the age of 18, so children, if they kill someone, should they be named? Yes. Does anyone think they shouldn't be named? Yes, OK, the lady on the front row there. So we'll start with the lady here. What's Jane? Hello, Jane.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. What would you like to say on this issue, then?
Well, I believe the children should not be named. But I feel that the sentence was absolutely appalling. I think the parents should have been hauled into court. Those children were out at midnight and they should have been at home. And I feel that the children should maybe be taken away from their parents because their parents have obviously done the most terrible job.
Yeah.
And that's what I think.
That's exactly what one of the family members called for. Said the parents should be held accountable, that they should be charged for this crime. And that's an interesting moral dilemma, isn't it? Whether parents are accountable for their children's crimes.
Yes.
Brianna
Should we ask your parents?
OK,
Let me just say, Brianna Jai's killers, they were under 18, and the court did decide that on balance, public interest was there and they were named.
Yeah.
It took a while, but they were named. But normally they're not named.
Well, they named Venables and Thompson, didn't they?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Bulger
that's
killers.
true.
Yeah. They were named. In fact, we had to name them a few times because one of them kept breaking his new identity. But anyway, that's another story entirely. Christo, should we be naming killer kids?
Well, it's not just this case. Can we also talk about the case of Robert Price, which was the guy who was in Dagenham this week, and the two youths, one 18 who has been named, Nathan Otito and a 16-year-old who can't be named, and I think 16 is old enough to be named. They did a period of abuse on this poor man who lived in Dagenham until they actually then threatened to torture the pensioner, then they punched a hole in his window, pushed a firework into his house, killed him, jailed for 6 years, the 18-year-old, and the 16-year-old handed a custodial sentence of 2 years and 8 months.
Right, one month longer than Lucy Connolly, that, for a tweet. 1 month longer. Firebombed a man's house. 1 month longer in prison.
So I think 16... If you are 16, that you should be named. But I think that you raise a really fair point about parents, and actually I don't think we would be so angry about the lack of naming if we actually thought that sentences were in any way proportionate to the kind of crime.
OK, could we get the microphone to this gentleman on the front here? And, JJ, your views on this?
Yeah, I agree with the woman who spoke at the very beginning. I've been saying from time immemorial that if you have kids who are doing bad things, the parents are responsible. If my kid plays truant, I get a fine, not my kid. If my kid goes out and murders someone, that is also my fault. And it should be the parents being held responsible to actually parents.
OK, strong stuff. Sir, what would you like to say?
I just think it's odd that we want to give the vote to 16-year-olds, but they're not accountable for all their actions. And it's either 18, which is the traditional age, or, or make them man up and then take the punishment and be named.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a good point, isn't it? It's a good point. Go on, Barry, where are you on this then? Should we be naming killer kids?
Can I bring in another aspect to this? And that is, sometimes we criticise the media because with that horrible guy who killed the three little boys.
Yeah.
And we criticise the media and we say they're making everybody recognises his photo, everybody recognises his name. I'm not going to repeat his name. And sometimes people do things for publicity. They want to go down in history as a really bad guy. And so I'm not sure that actually always publicising the names is right, because it gives the media something to hang on, and then that becomes the focus. So instead of it being the focus, as we've done tonight, with Bim Kohli being the focus, and everybody saying how awful for his family, it would otherwise have been...
But is that the reason why they make those decisions in court? Because I think it's more about their welfare.
Well, we can come on to that, Emily, but I think there is a real point here, and that is otherwise we would have had a photograph of a little girl and a little boy, or a teenage girl and boy, up there on the screen saying, these are the horrors that did it. So I think there is an issue there.
Yeah.
But I take your point about welfare, and I do think...
that's what the court would say.
Well, no, but
that's right.
Yeah,
wrong.
but sometimes if a child, if we're talking about 10, 11-year-olds, and I absolutely agree with what the lady said about parents and bad parenting, but we do also have to think, you know, should people be responsible for the whole of the rest of their lives as something that they do as a kid?
I think if
but sorry, if I was 16 and I had done anything near to this,
16,
my mother would have assured I'd be singing soprano. I'm telling you now, there is absolutely no way that either of my parents would have let me get away with that. And I just think that we
13,
well, 13,
11,
maybe it should be up to the family of the victim. Maybe the family of the victim should have a decision.
But maybe it should be up to the judge, and that's what it is.
The problem with this 13-year-old girl is that not only is she not going to be named, she's also not serving any time in a young offenders unit at all. She's basically got some kind of rehabilitation order. I mean, we don't even know what it means, do we? She's got a 6-month curfew. So conceivably, she's going to go, she might end up back in school, she might change schools, go back in school, she's going to might get into the world of work one day. No one's going to be any the wiser. Where are the consequences for what she did?
And you say it should be up to the judge, Barry. Sorry, the judge is the person that's just sentenced them to about 6 years, you know. So the judge clearly, I don't know whether that's a fair representation of whether the judge has any sanity.
Guys, we're going to have to rattle on, I'm afraid. Good topic there. Thank you very much, everyone. Great stuff, and thank you for everyone who asked questions there. Coming up shortly. After that red card in the 1998 World Cup, an alleged tax avoidance scheme and some highly embarrassing leaked emails, Golden Balls has finally got a gong, so there we are. But does David Beckham deserve a knighthood? Well, my panel and my live audience, they're going to have their say in just a few minutes' time. Stay tuned.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Whilst the weekend brings a lot of unsettled weather to the UK, it's going to be dry and sunny for much of the Mediterranean, although unsettled through the Alps and the south of France. It's across Iberia where it's going to be particularly sunny and hot, with the heat building day by day through Saturday, Sunday and early next week across southern and central Spain. High 30s, low 40s by early next week. Similarly hot across Italy with low to mid 30s. Plenty of sunshine across the board and staying that way into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening, I'm here with your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Whilst there will be a few showers around on Sunday, it's on Saturday when we have the risk of the heaviest, most torrential and thundery downpours, because there's a weather system that's coming in from the southwest, a bit of forcing leading to some heavy showery rain that's going to feed its way northeastwards across the bulk of England and Wales as we go overnight. Also some showery bursts pushing in across parts of Northern Ireland and western and southern Scotland. Meanwhile, towards the east and northeast, a greater chance of staying dry with some clear skies, so turning a bit fresh here. Meanwhile, elsewhere, most places holding up in double figures because of the cloud, because of the heavy rain. Now, as we go through tomorrow morning, like I said, a generally dry picture first thing across some parts of northern and eastern Scotland. A few showers may make their way through, but it's going to be until a little bit later on before places here see some downpours. Meanwhile, across western and southern Scotland, a pretty wet start to the day, but across Northern Ireland, some rain not too far away, and it's a similar story across the bulk of England and Wales. By its very nature, showery rain will be a bit hit and miss, so there will be some drier, perhaps even brighter weather around, but always the risk of some torrential downpours pushing through, and the risk of impacts increases as we go through into the afternoon. We could see locally 10 to 15 millimetres of rain in just an hour, and rainfall totals could build up as we go through the day. So across southern parts in particular, likely to see some impacts in places. Also watch out for some frequent lightning and a bit of hail. Then as we go into Sunday, most of the showers will have cleared away. Still some across the far east to begin with. They clear away, and then there will be a scattering of showers following in, particularly across western parts, but many places will have a drier day than on Saturday, with a good chance of seeing some bright or sunny spells as well. Into next week, and a changeable theme, at least towards the north and west, potentially turning warmer in the south by the middle of the week.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Welcome back, everybody, to our wonderful live studio audience. All right, OK. The Housewives' favourite, David Beckham. He's going to get a knighthood in the King's birthday honours, with the list of recipients to be published next week. Well, it's been quite the journey, hasn't it? The boy from Essex, he went from England footballing legend, Manchester United footballing legend. Thank you very much. Yes, United fans in. Not much to cheer about at the minutes. There we go. After he was sent off. He was sent off, though, in England's World Cup match against Argentina in 1998. In 2014, Beckham was apparently on the verge of receiving a knighthood, but HMRC placed a red flag on his nomination. Just a quick thing. Anyone know? Hey, HMRC? Exactly. Anyway, right, so they blocked his knighthood, apparently. Again, in 2017, a series of embarrassing leaked emails revealed that he was slamming the Honours Committee, and he branded the process, quote, an effing joke. But more recently, the footballing legend was pictured respectfully queuing up to walk past the Queen's coffin alongside members of the public, unlike, of course, Holly and Phil. So there we go. Anyway, things have turned out all right for them, haven't they? So the Beckhams have grown closer to both the King and Prince William, with the couple invited to the King and Queen's exclusive dinner at Highgrove House just a few moments ago. So Golden Balls has got his gong. Let me go over straight to the... Well, firstly, do people think David Beckham deserves a gong? Yeah! Does anyone here hate with a passion? No, fair enough. OK, so, sir, you've got a... go on. You're called Mark, aren't you? And I understand... Yeah. Are you a referee?
Yes, I'm a referee, yes.
Would you have sent him off in 1998?
Well, I'm old school, so no.
Yes! Go on. What would you like to say about Bax?
Well, I think his footballing career justifies his knighthood, 100 caps or whatever for England. I think it's nearly 20 trophies for Manchester United in a quite a golden era. So maybe one or two people have had knighthoods with... tax problems and email problems and all this sort of stuff, and that's been overlooked. So I think overall, yes. Yeah. He should get it, yeah.
Go on, people seem to agree. Go on, JJ.
Look, he is the biggest export of English football that there ever was. Bigger than everyone else. No. Southgate got a knighthood.
Bobby Charlton.
No. Beckham is bigger than Charlton, mate.
Never.
No one was bigger than David Beckham.
I'll meet you outside.
Right, let's go. Beckham was massive. He went to Spain and won their league, went to France, won their league, went to Italy. He created a football team in the USA. He has made football global, and football is the most English thing that we have, and he's taken it across the world. So, yes, he absolutely deserves
this. And crucially, JJ, he's very handsome.
He's not bad looking, is he?
All right. But I have to say, there is something so deeply vulgar about his desperation.
He is desperate.
For this. And coming from me, that's saying something. He has been so desperate to get this knighthood, it makes me want to vomit.
He is.
And I'm sorry, Lady Victoria, I've actually, shoveled muck that's less common than her. She was a great Spice Girl. She could do those 3 notes brilliantly. I went to the concert. I cried at the front. She couldn't sing and point at the same time, but she was good. But he's a good ambassador. He was a good footballer. He queued for the Queen. He has been, I really like what he said last week about modern players not having manners and all of that sort of stuff. He's been on a PR campaign for it. So ultimately, yes, he deserves it.
He deserves it.
Those emails were awkward, though, weren't they?
Come on, Barry.
Desperate.
For that one goal, from the halfway line, looping over. He deserves the knighthood just for
The
that.
one against Greece. The one against
The
Greece.
free kick. The free kick.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
absolutely. Or taking a boot in the face from Fergie. Magic. And then pinning his Ponzi hair back when he was driving into the training ground. Oh, these stitches. Yeah, come on.
Did you know my father was Fergie's coach, and that's where he got it from?
Really?
The hairdryer treatment. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Everything's my fault on this show.
Well, go on. So do you think that it demeans the gong process? This guy's been bang at it, wanting a gong for absolutely ages, hasn't he? You're also... Now we're going to have... well, it's going to be another lady break, isn't it?
First things
Can't see
first,
this one.
he hasn't got it yet. And we all know that it's supposed to be, you don't say anything until it happens. So he hasn't got it yet.
OK.
My view is he deserves it. He's done a huge amount for football in this country and around the world. Second only to Bobby Charlton.
Second only to Bobby Charlton, yeah, fair enough. Well, it's interesting. How many Manchester United fans have we got in tonight, I'm interested? Yeah, quite a few, exactly. Give you something to cheer about. There we are. So there we go. I mean, do you think as well, I mean, you obviously made the point about his wife there.
That
was catty, Christys.
It was catty, and you know when I'm being nasty, when my mouth's moving. I love the Spice Girls. I actually, I like Victoria. I like her ambition. I like her work ethic. I just find the absolute desperation that they both displayed and the campaign vulgar.
So here's what I'd say. There are companies, 'cause I'm a journalist, I've written for people before, there are companies who are paid to help get people the gongs. Beckham may be out here campaigning, but he's doing stuff for UNICEF. He's going and getting his hands dirty. There's other people who are just businessmen who are paying companies to write the application for them so they can get nominated.
Also,
everyone does it.
He doesn't bang on about politics.
No, yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he stays clear of it.
Which helps, I think.
Yeah.
He seems to be pretty neutral on that. There was a little bit of worry about his guitar ambassadorship.
His Qatar ambassadorship.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said
That was
guitar.
probably-
Yeah, I did as well. I was like,
What did you
please
think
not.
I said? Guitar?
Yeah.
Well, he might play, I don't know.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Has anyone mentioned the underwear range?
Only you, Chris.
I am also a journalist.
I seem to remember you doing quite a lot of research about
journalism.
So there we go. So David Beckham's got his knighthood, which seems to please some people more than others. But anyway, well, look, I've got a load more coming your way. I want to leave a bit of time for this subject now because I think this is potentially quite big. I know that a lot of people have strong views over. Does anyone here think we need digital IDs or should have digital IDs? Divides people. No. Yeah, because then the argument for it, obviously, is to try to help it to curtail this surge in illegal immigration. So my audience are going to have their say afterwards. Will we see digital IDs in Britain? Stay tuned.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel.
And the government is apparently considering plans to introduce digital IDs in a bid to tackle illegal immigration and benefits fraud. The cards, which Brits would have on their smartphones, will be linked to government records and used to check on an individual's right to live and work in Britain, as well as their entitlement to benefits. Now, I think most people in this room are generally anti-ID cards, are you? Is that right? Yeah. Right, OK. But this, I suppose the issue of illegal immigration is maybe changing that. Britain is, of course, the only country in Europe without an ID card system, which critics argue has made it attractive to illegal migrants. That and the fact, of course, they get absolutely everything and they're allowed to stay here indefinitely. We're short segments, so I'm going to go straight to this chap on the front row, if that's all right. Were you in favour of introducing digital ID cards in order to curb immigration, or what do you think, mate?
I think I probably am in favour of digital ID cards. I know you just said most of the people here weren't, but I think I probably am, so that's my view on it.
You're not worried about the slow, asphyxiating hand of state censorship on your life?
Not at all, no.
No. No, fair enough. OK, so why would you want it? Is it mainly because you just think that we need to just do whatever we can to tackle illegal immigration, basically?
I think so, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. OK, fair enough. So there we go. Right, panel, Emily, how are you? Where are you on this?
I'm not sure. I'm not really libertarian about this issue because, as you say, it's in a lot of countries and it's quite useful for people to have their details in one place. Do I trust the government to administrate it properly? Probably not. Do I think that I haven't really heard a convincing answer as to how it will stop people crossing on small boats over the channel. And also, if you're going to employ people illegally in this country, you're going to do it whether you check their digital IDs or not.
Yeah.
So it might help on the borders, you know, for some Home Office officials, but I'm not sure.
I think, can I just say...
It'll make a big dent in illegal migration.
I think something that needs to be spoken about more in this country is that we are employing low-skilled immigrants who barely speak English to work as security guards at hotels full of illegal immigrants. And if that doesn't sum up the madness of modern Britain, then I'm not quite sure what does. JJ, are you in favour of a digital ID card?
Yeah, had one when I lived in the Middle East. It was good. Liked it.
Yeah?
5 stars.
Is there yeah, you give it 5, yeah.
5 stars.
We're not an Uber.
TripAdvisor.
I mean, I suppose the worry would be a little bit like we saw with COVID, where you start bringing in one rule, and then all of a sudden you've got to show your ID card to do absolutely everything, and then maybe that lends itself
papers, please,
towards some kind of, you know, Chinese-style social credit system.
But if you go to a nightclub, you have to show your ID to get in.
Yep.
Driving licence, passport, whatever. So if they already have it, what's the difference?
Barry, weren't Labour initially against having to show an ID if you wanted to vote?
Yes.
So now Labour might bring in an ID for everyone in the country.
No. Look, I've always been against ID cards. My passport, and I still have an old one, that says Her Britannic Majesty requires without let or hindrance. You know, the bearer must be able to pass without let or hindrance. And that's what we've always prided ourselves on in this country, that nobody stops you in the street and says, why are you here, what are you doing, who are you, in that way, without good legal cause.
I wish they'd do it a bit more in Dover.
That is undermined by uncontrolled immigration, though, isn't it? Because the problem is that the government don't know who's here. Well, and that's the uncomfortable truth, isn't it?
I've always, as I say, I've been against the ID cards. I don't actually feel the same way about digital ID cards, because all of Google and Meta and all these other people, they've got all the information about us anyway, and it seems to me that it's there. It's not as if our information is going to be given up. But what worries me is who can then hack into it, and what use can they make of it?
Also, I've got two words to say: vaccine passports. Do you remember when we used to have to have that? You know, you need to show something to get into a pub, because that shows the hand of the state deciding that it's going to control your life. But I think I've solved this problem.
Here we go. Get ready, everyone.
No,
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Sit down.
But why can't we just change the national insurance card to become a photo card that you have to show when you go to a hospital or anywhere like that to then...
Because NHS workers say we're not the Home Office. It's not our job to check whether someone should be...
You've paid for benefits, anything like that. Your national insurance is the proof you've paid into the system. You get it even if you are not yet a citizen, but you're a national. Why can't we just use that?
Guys, can I just say, I just can't help but wonder if all of this is irrelevant. Because even if we found that people are here illegally, we don't deport them anyway, do we, really? We've had to pay most of them to leave. This big thing about, oh, we've got rid of 30,000 people. Most of them we've had to pay and send them back to where they come from. They've gone voluntarily. So what's the point? We just know.
I mean, by your logic, we may as well never debate it again, and we may as well all go to the pub.
I get it, but we'd be able to ask people for their cards, and then we'd do absolutely naffled. Oh, you overstayed your visa, have you?
You have to enforce
well, thanks for giving me my
Also,
delivery.
again, it's so unfair because of government choices. The law-abiding people of this country have to be forced to show their papers.
But I wouldn't mind showing my national insurance card to go to a hospital. What would be wrong with that?
Because you might not have it on you at the time.
No, but I know my national insurance number.
And if you didn't?
I'll announce it if you like. I won't. Because who knows who'll get
And Christo, let's face it, you might not be in a fit state to tell them your national insurance number.
Then do you have to carry it on you? I don't know. I'm sure there would be a way round it. Same with a digital ID card. I might not be in a fit state to hand it over.
So, Barry, you'd vote against this if Keir Starmer tries to bring it in, then presumably?
No, I want to look at why and what evidence there is that this is going to do what the government says it will do.
Yeah, it's not.
And now, at the moment, I've not been convinced in the past about ID cards. If there's a case for it, let it be made, let's examine it, and then take a judgment.
It sounds to me like you're leaning towards voting against it, though, Barry.
No, I'm open-minded. But the point of an open mind
Otherwise, they're
is
sitting on the fence.
the point of an open mind is that you listen to the evidence and then you close it around a decision.
Very, very quick point. Tony Blair is in favour of this.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. I'm out.
Final grenade.
OK, everybody, coming up at 10 p.m.
We risk becoming an island of strangers, not a nation that walks forward together.
Well, so white Brits are apparently going to be a minority in Britain in the next 40 years. What I want to know is it racist to care about that? Is it racist to mind about whether or not white Brits are going to be a minority in Britain going forward? That, and I've got an astonishing update about the NHS to give you. Stay tuned.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening. I'm here with your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Whilst there will be a few showers around on Sunday, it's on Saturday when we have the risk of the heaviest, most torrential and thundery downpours, because there's a weather system that's coming in from the southwest, a bit of forcing leading to some heavy showery rain that's going to feed its way northeastwards across the bulk of England and Wales as we go overnight. Also some showery bursts pushing in across parts of Northern Ireland and western and southern Scotland. Meanwhile, towards the east and northeast, a greater chance of staying dry with some clear skies, so turning a bit fresh here. Meanwhile, elsewhere, most places holding up in double figures because of the cloud, because of the heavy rain. Now, as we go through tomorrow morning, like I said, a generally dry picture first thing across some parts of northern and eastern Scotland. A few showers may make their way through, but it's going to be until a little bit later on before places here see some downpours. Meanwhile, across western and southern Scotland, a pretty wet start to the day, but across Northern Ireland, some some rain not too far away, and it's a similar story across the bulk of England and Wales. By its very nature, showery rain will be a bit hit and miss, so there will be some drier, perhaps even brighter weather around, but always the risk of some torrential downpours pushing through, and the risk of impacts increases as we go through into the afternoon. We could see locally 10 to 15 millimetres of rain in just an hour, and rainfall totals could build up as we go through the day. So across southern parts in particular, likely to see some impacts in places. Also watch out for some frequent lightning and a bit of hail. Then as we go into Sunday, most of the showers will have cleared away. Still some across the far east to begin with. They clear away, and then there will be a scattering of showers following in, particularly across western parts, but many places will have a drier day than on Saturday, with a good chance of seeing some bright or sunny spells as well. Into next week, and a changeable theme, at least towards the north and west, potentially turning warmer in the south by the middle of the week.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
I'm Tom Harwood. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, hello again. Come on. How are you? Are you all right? Lovely to see you. Welcome. Hello, Mayor. Hello. Wonderful stuff, yes. Lovely. Oh, you get a high five as well. Brilliant. All right. Well, happy Friday, everybody. Thank you to everyone in my live studio audience. Big hour coming your way. Is it racist to care about white Brits becoming a minority? Labour's free school meals plan. Is it a massive waste of money?
Now, who would still eat this?
Are you afraid to use the NHS?
Been stabbed twice in the chest.
And gosh, Rachel Reeves put the nation to sleep earlier this week, didn't she? I mean, goodness gracious me. Do you all remember that? I mean, that was absolutely horrific, wasn't it? So, I mean, just shocking. Have a look at this.
Well, young people...
And the sequel to that Robert De Niro film looks great. Oh, and what's going on here?
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
On my panel tonight, we've got the Labour MP for Brent West, is Barry Gardner. We have got GBNews superstar Emily Carver. Broadcasting royalty Christo Fufas. And the one, the only, JJ Anasobi. Well, a heck of a lot coming your way. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Is it racist to care about white Brits becoming a minority in Britain? What do you think? No? Yes? No? OK, well, we'll find out what they really think after your headlines.
Good evening. It's just after 10 o'clock. Here are your latest GB News headlines. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch says Britain is being mugged over migration. In her speech this morning, Ms Badenoch claimed the European Convention on Human Rights is being used in ways never intended by its original authors. The move follows recent government efforts to limit its influence on UK immigration cases amid growing concern that the treaty is obstructing deportation policies and legal reforms. President Trump has accused Elon Musk of losing his mind in the latest escalation in the row between the pair. Speaking to the US media, the president revealed he is not interested in speaking to the tech mogul. It comes after Musk alleged that the president appears in files related to the disgraced paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein. The Health Secretary has announced nearly £450 million is being invested in the NHS in England to help cut hospital waiting times. West Streeting says the NHS reforms aims to deliver around 40 new centres to fast-track treatment for patients, up to 15 mental health crisis assessment units and almost 500 new ambulances. It's part of an attempt to shift patients away from A&E and avoid unnecessary hospital admissions. Tottenham Hotspur have sacked their manager, Ange Postecoglou. The Australian led Spurs to their first trophy in 17 years with a 1-0 victory over Manchester United in the Europa League final last month. However, the sacking follows Tottenham's woeful Premier League campaign, which saw them finish 17th in the table with 22 defeats. And finally, the bull that was seen on the loose on the streets in Birmingham has now been captured. West Midlands Police say officers were made aware of the animal in the Digbeth area at around 9:30 this morning. The force added that it worked with Birmingham City Council to ensure the animal was taken to a safe location. It's so far unclear as to where the bull even came from. Well, those are your latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Lewis Mackenzie. More from me in an hour's time.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome to another sparkling edition of my live studio audience. I know I say it every week, but I really mean it. It's the best audience so far. There we go. Well, I can't wait to find out what people think about this. So white Brits are going to be a minority in Britain within the next 40 years. That is according to research from GB News' very own Professor Matt Goodwin. So the white British population will decline from 73% that it is now to 57% by 2050, then below 50% by 2063, which sounds like a long way off, but it's not really that far off, is it? So, by the end of the century, it looks like white Brits could make up just 33.7% of the population. In fact, by 2100, 60% of people in the UK will either have not been born here or will have at least one immigrant parent. Now, just looking at the demographic side of this, the Muslim population currently stands at about 7%, apparently. Apparently, it could become 11.2% in the next 25 years, and then an astonishing 20% in the UK by the end of the century. So, there we go. And then realistically, at what point do you have to consider whether or not Britain will become a Muslim country? When you start getting into that territory, don't you? But already, Brits up and down the country are just seeing and feeling a demographic change, aren't they, with their own eyes? Like, look, you know, you see it when you walk past primary schools, for example, don't you? Or when you go to hospitals to visit relatives, or if you just go to Birmingham, Bradford, Blackburn or Burnley. But, in fact, speaking of Burnley, they have just elected a local councillor who wants men and women to be segregated. She's an 18-year-old medical student, so that bodes well. We'll come on to the NHS a little bit later on. But good grief, is that the direction of travel in Britain? What I want to know is, do people think it's racist to care about Britain becoming a white British minority country? But before we get stuck into that, there is a lady on the front row who would like to make a point. Thank you very much. What's your name?
Hello, I'm Claire.
Claire, lovely to meet you, Claire. What would you like to say, then, please, on this issue?
So, yeah, I mean, I spoke with you briefly about it before, and I'm a mother of a nearly 4-year-old. We live in a really, like, quintessential British countryside place, and we don't really see the sort of diversities that are coming into the country. But then, like, when we go into bigger towns, especially coming into London today, you see the diversity, and obviously you see all the boat crossings on the telly, and it is keeping me awake at night. Like, I'm losing sleep over it. Like, what is the country going to be like when our son grows up? It's giving me nightmares.
So you are worried about the country that you're son's going to live in. I mean, that must be quite bad for you, really, genuinely. It's a worry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what is it that worries you most? Do you mind me asking? Is it things like crime rates or what do you think?
Honestly, I've got a bit of a thing about terrorist attacks, and I'm scared to get on the tube. Like, I'm looking around me thinking, like, who's there, you know? And it is obviously the people that are coming over in these boats. Where are the women and children? They're all fighting-age men, you know. They're all coming in. Then Keir Starmer's saying we need to prepare for war, and he's going to send off all of our people. Who's going to be left to look after us? And that's where my mind goes with it.
Well, thank you very much for being very brave and coming on national television and voicing what you've got to say there, because a lot of people, and for too long in Britain, I think a lot of people have kept their mouths shut. So it's very nice to hear you. So thank you very much for that. OK, well, let's... So, Emily, do you think it's racist for people to worry about the idea that Britain might be a white British minority going forward? What do you think?
Well, I mean, the Prime Minister has been talking about how this country could become an island of strangers. So he's been talking quite tough, saying sort of things that he certainly would not have said when he was in opposition. I think what people are worried about is not colour. People are worried about dramatic cultural change, and because we've had years now of extremely, quite radical levels of immigration into this country that it has never seen before, I think people are deeply worried that we'll lose a collective sense of national identity, and I think in a lot of areas that's already happening. Also in a lot of areas, unfortunately, they are increasingly divided along ethnic and religious lines. You can have schools that are really not very far apart at all, where in one all the pupils are white, in the other all the pupils are of a particular ethnic minority, and I don't think that is a good thing at all. Now, the left either deny this or they scoff at it. They never seem to provide any solutions, really, because, I'm sorry, people are allowed to worry about integration and whether we're going to have a cohesive society moving forward. It's not about colour, it's about people who feel passionately that we need to protect British identity.
Yeah. JJ, what do you think about this, these numbers here?
I agree with pretty much everything Emily said there, but this report is about colour, it's not about culture.
Yeah.
And by the way, the report is complete and utter dog shit. And I'll tell you why. The Telegraph wrote about this report, and they put, as a journalist, the Telegraph put, report claims. If it was factual, if this was actually real, they'd put report states. because that's how we write. They put claims. Secondly, I'm a nerd. I have to look at graphs about populations all the time. It makes great, easy news reports. There's no graph for populations anywhere in the world, declining or declining, that go completely straight, because war has an effect, the cost of living has an effect, disease, COVID has an effect. So it goes like this, but on Matthew Gooden's one, complete straight. Final point, which makes me think this is complete tosh, is that they have changed the meaning of white British. So, for example, Nigel Farage, white British, we'd all agree. His wife, German. They have children born in this country. They are born white British. According to this report, those children are not white British because one of their parents was not British. So this report is complete and utter tosh. Forget about it. This is purely about race, and it's about causing division and tension. Yes, we want to uphold the British culture, but that is not going to happen by pitting people against each other based off the colour of their skin with propaganda like this.
OK, fair enough. Just going to do the obvious little bit of housekeeping now. Apologies if there was some fruity language. We're all adults here, and I don't really think anyone cares, but sorry if you do. Anyway, especially when the show gets replayed in the morning. But anyway,
Sorry.
Look, Christo, go on, what do you make of it? Because go on, yeah.
All right, I take your point about you don't agree with the methodology. Absolutely fair, but it does. What this report has done, it's raised questions about, on the surface, about race. But actually, I think, like you, Emily, I don't think this is about race.
But this one is about race.
Yes, I agree, but I think the concerns that people have, I think, and the wider questions about this are not about race, because I think that what it exposes is a worry that white people will have about if the population of minorities goes up, maybe nowhere near to what this report is, but different ethnicities, different colours of people goes up. It might not be to the extent of that report.
It's not. Yeah, but
I know, but let me just make the point. If that happens, right, people are going to be worried that we are going to see more of what is happening now, and that is positive discrimination, white people feeling like they're at the back of the queue for jobs, working class white boys and girls who are doing worse in schools. If people who talk about parts of our culture or our country or justice or immigration policy that worries them, they're being called racist. Now, if the population of non-white people increases, there will be a worry about white people that all of that nonsense
if we're not talking about race, it can't be racist. My 4-year-old can say the moon is made of cheese. That's a claim. It doesn't make it realism. This report, I'm saying to you, is not based on any realistic statistics.
But the concern...
So the concern is about British culture and not about race, then?
Well, that's exactly what I've just said.
No, because you're saying white British people, and I'm saying to you that literally this report is saying white British people in this country are not actually white British people. So it's a fallacy.
The point I am making is that white British people have every right to be worried that the nonsense that comes along with positive discrimination, complete different argument.
No,
it's not. They're the same concerns.
No, after you, Barry.
No, can I just wade in with another point?
I think he can decide.
Guys, no, it's all right. I just want to wade in with another point, because for me, personally, what a lot of the concern would be is that we would have... Firstly, it's the rate of change, right? So... It's the rapid nature of it that we're talking about here, which I think is a concern because we're already not dealing particularly well with integration. It's also the idea that if this report... OK, I accept what you're saying, but if it's anything like true, we're going to end up with a high proportion of people in this country whose allegiances are not actually with this country. They are with the country that they were either from, or that their relatives are from, or that they feel as they have a link to. And that could be a big problem for Britain. Barry, you disagree with that, do you?
Look... The question, as it's put, is, as a shock new report reveals that white British people will become a minority in the UK within the next 40 years, is it racist to be worried about this? The answer is no, it's not racist, it's just stupid. Why would you worry that more people in our community are going to be black or brown or yellow rather than us? Now, and that's the distinction that these two were arguing about.
You walk down streets in Birmingham, no one's speaking English. I've got a problem with that.
Sorry, that Emily quite rightly identified. And it's about, actually, it's cultural change. It's not whether people are white or black or brown or whatever, right? It's about culture. Now, this report and this is where JJ actually put his finger right on the money, this report was done in such a way to pretend it was being about one thing, but actually it was trying to sow division about the other. If we are all... Sorry, hang on. If we are all concerned about integration, then we should not like reports like this.
Well, OK,
what I want to know is why is the lady here...
What about the aspect of it is 20% Muslim? What about that aspect?
Why is the lady here, you know, who says she's living in a village where there's hardly any people not white British?
Well, you've got an interesting...
At the moment,
You've also got quite an interesting point about this, haven't you? About some of the things that go on.
Oh, yeah, so there are quite a few left-wing lunatics where I live, and yesterday they were all marching up and down the high street banging drums with Free Palestine written on them. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think that's fair enough to not be that happy about that, right? I mean,
I'm not happy about it. I'm not.
Yeah, but also this is the thing. I just feel, I'm sorry to say this, but I you know, it's the thing. There's a lot of people where I initially grew up, where they were all very lovely and lefty and well-meaning, and then all of a sudden certain things have come to their doorstep, like not one but 2 migrant hotels right there, and then started to go, oh, actually, I'm not really in favour of this. And I think you know, it starts to change people. And for people who do live rurally, etc., they might think it's all right now, but the direction of travel, Barry, is that this is coming their way, isn't it?
I want to address the specific thing about Palestine. We live in a country where there is freedom of speech. And we allow political protest. Sometimes we agree with it, sometimes we don't. I think it is absolutely right, given what we see day by day of the killing, the maiming of children in Gaza, that people can feel that that is so horrific that they want to protest about it. And I say, well done, good luck to them. Right. They should be protesting about it, because we should not be accepting that 40, 50,000 kids are being starved to death if they're not being bombed. And
you haven't addressed the issue of how we manage integration, though.
Well,
with huge demographic change.
We don't do it by scaremongering.
No, how do we do it?
But I'm sorry.
How do we do it? Because it is an issue.
Well, Emily,
you'll see it in your constituency. You'll see it around the country.
In my constituency,
it's an issue.
My constituency is probably certainly one of the most culturally diverse in the whole of the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? Is that why you don't feel that comfortable addressing the question? Or...
I feel very comfortable addressing the question, because actually we live very easily together. There are tensions between groups, just as there are tensions, I'm sure, in your village, right? There are tensions, but actually we manage them. And the good thing, I think, in my part of the world is that nobody is in a majority. There's not two big majorities. We're all minorities, and we get on.
Well, there's a lady on the front row who I think would like to make a point. Is that right?
OK. Barry, I think that what you're saying is totally disingenuous. I'm listening to this lady here. I've lived in London for about 40 years now. I come from Buckinghamshire originally, and the rate of change and what is happening where we live is very uncomfortable. And I don't think it's about race, and I think what JJ said is actually right, in that if he feels that this is a racist report and that's the angle, fair enough, I accept that. And I accept that it's predictions and all that kind of thing. But I think at the root of this is a real fear of people who've grown up in this country. I'm 64 now, and the country has changed so much. I worked in finance and I became a teacher, and I'm absolutely appalled at, I would say, the ahistorical nature of teaching of history in this country now, to the extent that a lot of very apolitical friends of mine who don't have any axe to grind now think, what's going on? Are they going to try and pretend that the Enlightenment didn't happen, the scientific revolution didn't happen, the parliamentary democracy wasn't held by white British people? And I'm not a white supremacist at all, but I'm just saying we applaud every other flipping country around the world. What about us?
Okay.
You made the point I was trying to make far better than I did, actually, because I think that I don't care. I don't think people care what you are. I genuinely don't. But I think people are sick of white people being portrayed as villains and being I think victims of positive discrimination against them, and all of that stuff that comes along with living with more ethnic minorities. Now, I don't care about living with ethnic minorities if we're all rubbing along together and all of that nonsense has gone. But unfortunately, I think that there is a tedium about it, and people get sick of it.
I'm being shouted at now, and rightly so from our producer. We need to move on. Thank you very much, everybody. A lively start. We've got some more absolutely fantastic topics coming your way, including, well, the free school meals thing, and obviously some bit of a horror show in the NHS. But before all of that, this will take your mind off it, won't you? It's the Great British Giveaway! Yay! £54,321. Yes, that is 54321. And basically, look, here's how you can win it. Go on.
It's our biggest cash prize to date, and you could win it. £54,321 in totally tax-free cash could make your year the best yet. How would you react if you got that winning call?
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
£54,321 could make you our biggest cash winner to date. For a chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, good luck, people. Good luck. So, coming up. The government is splashing £1 billion expanding free school meals to every family on universal credit. But is it really the state's job to feed people's kids? Well, I'm going to get your views on that in my live studio audience very shortly. Don't go anywhere.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Health programme that turns back the clock. Promotional Longevity is a wellness company with a difference. Using a combination of science and fitness, it aims to reduce people's biological age.
We take their initial tests and work out their biological age, and we take a history of their exercise, what they're eating, and then we make a bespoke programme that's kind of personalised to each participant, and that will guide them through 6 weeks of diet. Everything that they eat will be planned, their exercise is planned. We can help with supplements, anti-aging protocols for things like sleep, skincare, kind of all aspects of ageing, really.
It comes as life expectancy in Yorkshire is one of the lowest in the country, according to the ONS.
Well, a man born in Yorkshire can expect to live almost a decade, well, in certain parts of Yorkshire, let's be more specific, can expect to live a decade less than someone born in certain parts of the south. That's pretty significant. People in Yorkshire can expect to be in poor health for the last 20 years of their life. And England as a whole, I mean, for one of the richest nations in the world, we lag behind Europe in terms of life expectancy and health expectancy, which is really the crucial thing to us, really. It's not about how many years you live. It's about living those years with some kind of quality of life.
62-year-old Debbie Shaw reduced her biological age by 17 years on Promotional Longevity's 6-week programme.
I lost 1.5 stone on their diet, and that's something that I just kind of accepted was older age. I'm a menopausal woman and we put weight on. I started off at 56 and I ended up at 39. And I feel 39 again.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Welcome back, everybody. And can I just take this opportunity to thank everyone who's travelled far and wide. We've got someone from Darlington. Yes. We've got the Forest of Dean. We've got Birmingham, Portsmouth. Yes. Well done, everybody. So, why aren't you here? Come on. You need to come down to the next Friday night show. Anyway, we're going to be talking about this now. So hundreds of thousands of children will be eligible for free school meals after the government expanded their eligibility criteria. Currently, kids are eligible for free school meals if they live in families with a household income of less than £7,400. However, that's all changing in what has been greeted as great news by Jamie Oliver, the man who ruined school dinners. But anyway, including households now on more than 40 grand a year. So some households claim more than 40 grand a year on universal credit. They could be getting free school meals. The plan's going to cost £1 billion over the next 3 years. Feel for the room. Do you think that this is a good thing? Should people be getting the free school meals? People think no? No. OK. All right. There's a chap here. Yes. Hello, sir. Where have you come from?
My name's Lee. I'm from Swindon.
Swindon. Good stuff, mate. Lovely part of the world. What would you like to say on free school meals, mate?
I'd just like to say there's families out there where both parents are in full-time work. By the time they've paid their bills every month, they might have less money than some people on benefits. What help do they get, even though they're putting back into the system?
Right, it's a great point. I'm going to sit with you for a second, mate, if that's all right, because that is a really, really good point. Because do you feel as though people who go out and work hard and try and do everything that they are supposed to do, do you feel as though they're being disproportionately clobbered in Britain at the minute?
I feel as though sometimes they're being penalised for trying to do the best that they can for their families and for the country. OK, fair enough. What do people think that's a reasonable thing to say? That's it. Who to start with here now? Go on, JJ, I'll start with you on this, mate. What do you think about this idea about free school meals, then?
I think the government should provide meals for school kids. I think it's responsible as a government to do that for our young children. In Japan, the law is in every school you have to hire a nutritionist, making sure that kids grow up healthy with a healthy meal at school, and the nutritionists, they cook everything fresh every day. Obesity levels in Japan amongst kids, 5%. In England, 15% and rising.
Why can't parents do that, then? Why can't parents do that?
No, parents can do that at home, but I think because it's so important for us, especially in Britain where we have an ageing population and less kids, it's important the government gives them the best possible chance.
No, that's not the government's job. And once you hand power to the state, then it is very, very difficult to give it back. And my earliest memory, seriously, one of my earliest memories was my parents being so dirt poor that they shared a meal. But myself and my brother, we never went to school without toast or ready break in our belly, and I never had a school uniform that wasn't pristine and clean, because that's a parent's job. It's not the state's job to do that. Now, if people are struggling, without a doubt, it's the state's job to say, right, well, we're going to tax you less. We're going to make things easier for you so you've got more money
I'm not talking about the government helping people who are struggling. I'm saying blanket. I think the state should school meals as a blanket.
Why is it the state's job to feed children?
Because I think it's important for the state to look after their citizens, especially when those citizens are children.
Do you not think it's going a bit far, though? I mean, teachers are being expected to potty train children now.
Yeah, no, but I'm not talking about that, am I? That's not what I said.
They're being expected to teach children how to brush their teeth.
And again, that's not what I said.
Now, free school meals is not just becoming the norm for the very poorest, but also they're expanding that further as well. And I think this is because Labour want to look nicer because they've been taking so much of a hitting in the polls. Also, Keir Starmer saying oh, this is going to be the equivalent of £500 of cash into families' pockets. Well, if you trust families, why not just give them £500 in cash? I mean, it's the same logic. And also, if you start with... I'm not quite sure where the government think they're getting all this money from, to be honest.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask you, Barry, to be fair. I mean, we keep hearing about this £20 billion black hole, got loads of money for Ed Miliband's carbon capture, got loads of money for Mauritius, got loads of money for people who just come across the channel now, got loads of money for, well, firstly, benefits, and then secondly, to pay for meals for people whose kids are on benefits. So where is this coming from?
Look, I'd like to go back to the guy who asked the question, because I think you...
I'd like you to answer my question. I'd like you to answer my question, Barry. Come on. I know you've been watching... I know you've been watching the Prime Minister at POQs. I want you to answer where are we getting the money from, Barry? Come on. Come on.
We're going to get the money. I would get the money by making sure that people are not having to be on universal credit, because I don't think it's right that the state should have to subsidise an employer's wage bill so that we believe that that person is then earning enough to live on. I don't understand that in this country. What we do is we say, OK, you may be... And most of the people who are on universal credit, remember, are actually working. Yeah. They're in full-time work. Some of them are doing 2 jobs, and yet they're still not earning enough so that we say that they have enough to live on. And so we as taxpayers are subsidising the employer's wage bill. I think that is ridiculous.
What are you saying? You're going to force employers to pay their staff?
I would have a huge... If it
How
were
does
me,
that align with an increase in national insurance for employers?
Hang on, wait, let me answer the
I would have a huge increase in the national minimum wage, because I want people to be earning enough in employment. If you're an employer...
Think it through, though, Barry. If you increase the minimum wage by a huge amount, do you think there's going to be an impact on jobs?
Yes, of course there is.
OK, so fine. So then you'll have more people on benefits.
And do you know what that impact is going to be? Because it happened, and the same argument was used by people like you.
You can't force wages up.
Sorry, we did. We created a national minimum wage, and people like you said at the time, they said it's going to depress jobs, it's going to be terrible for the economy. You know what? When you pay the poorest people in society more, they spend it. That boosts the economy. That gets more people into jobs.
Power, retail jobs vacancies down 2/5, graduate vacancies
you know
down
why?
a quarter.
Because
you tax, and then you hope by some, I don't know, godly intervention that it's going to have absolutely no impact on businesses and people.
I totally disagreed, as I think you know, with the Chancellor when she raised the national insurance contribution for employers.
She messed that up, didn't she?
I said before she did it, I was asked on TV whether I thought it was a possibility. I said I thought it was, something that she would consider, but reject
if we could just
for those reasons.
Everyone should get £50 per hour minimum wage. Wouldn't we be in a wonderful world? That's not how it works, though, Barry.
Oh, but actually...
Why don't you try and make things cheaper?
I didn't say £50.
Build more housing so people have to pay less rent and more.
That's what we're doing. 1.5 more million
homes
more
have you
pounds
built since Labour have got in? I don't have the figure to hand, do you?
Yeah, no, I don't.
It's probably not there in any Barry.
All right.
Well, it is.
I mean, obviously, woe beside me getting in the middle of this one, but I am going to have to, and I'm very sorry, sir, at the back. We've, I couldn't interrupt that, so we'll come back to you after the break, my good man. But thank you very much, everybody. No, I think everyone at home probably enjoyed that. So there we go. Right, coming up. Now, this is an interesting story. So, walking wounded have been told to stay away from A&E. So basically, we've removed the A from A&E, right? If you've had an accident, don't go to A&E. I mean, I'm not telling the nation, do go to A&E. But you're being told basically don't. Anyway, all of that next. All right.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Whilst the weekend brings a lot of unsettled weather to the UK, it's going to be dry and sunny for much of the Mediterranean, although unsettled through the Alps and the south of France. It's across Iberia where it's going to be particularly sunny and hot, with the heat building day by day through Saturday, Sunday and early next week across southern and central Spain. High 30s, low 40s by early next week. Similarly hot across Italy with low to mid 30s. Plenty of sunshine across the board and staying that way into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. I'm here with your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Whilst there will be a few showers around on Sunday, it's on Saturday when we have the risk of the heaviest, most torrential and thundery downpours, because there's a weather system that's coming in from the southwest, a bit of forcing leading to some heavy showery rain that's going to feed its way northeastwards across the bulk of England and Wales as we go overnight. Also some showery bursts pushing in across parts of Northern Ireland and western and southern Scotland. Meanwhile, towards the east and northeast, a greater chance of staying dry with some clear skies, so turning a bit fresh here. Meanwhile, elsewhere, most places holding up in double figures because of the cloud, because of the heavy rain. Now, as we go through tomorrow morning, like I said, a generally dry picture first thing across some parts of northern and eastern Scotland. A few showers may make their way through, but it's going to be until a little bit later on before places here see some downpours. Meanwhile, across western and southern Scotland, a pretty wet start to the day, but across Northern Ireland, some rain not too far away, and it's a similar story across the bulk of England and Wales. By its very nature, showery rain will be a bit hit and miss, so there will be some drier, perhaps even brighter weather around, but always the risk of some torrential downpours pushing through, and the risk of impacts increases as we go through into the afternoon. We could see locally 10 to 15 millimetres of rain in just an hour, and rainfall totals could build up as we go through the day. So across southern parts in particular, likely to see some impacts in places. Also watch out for some frequent lightning and a bit of hail. Then as we go into Sunday, most of the showers will have cleared away. Still some across the far east to begin with. They clear away, and then there will be a scattering of showers following in, particularly across western parts, but many places will have a drier day than on Saturday, with a good chance of seeing some bright or sunny spells as well. Into next week, and a changeable theme, at least towards the north and west, potentially turning warmer in the south by the middle of the week.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. What a show this has been so far. Thank you, everyone in the audience, but get a load of this. So the walking wounded are being told now to avoid A&E. Don't go to A&E departments. It's one of the biggest set of reforms in NHS history. We're not surprised. You're just telling most people not to turn up. But anyway, patients with all but the most serious illnesses will instead be diverted to a network of over 40 same-day treatment centres that will treat and discharge patients on the same day to prevent a backlog at A&E. Paramedics will also be told to stop bringing so many people to hospital and treat them at home or at accident scenes instead. So the government says this is part of a £450 million plan to free up space for genuine emergencies to be dealt with and to reduce waiting times and treatments. Well, just to get... does anyone here, do people feel as though the NHS is working particularly well? No, I mean, it's a mixture, yes. Some people do, some people don't. It's a mixture, There's a lady on the front row here who would like to make a point on this. It's Sharon, is it?
It is, yeah.
Oh, where have you come from, Sharon?
I come from Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire,
and
lovely.
I work for the NHS.
Oh, wow. I tell you what, that's good. Go on then, Sharon. What would you like to say?
So I've worked for the NHS for 25 years, and passing it on to the ambulance is probably the worst thing they could ever do, asking them to do more work, because it's impossible getting an ambulance out, let alone getting patients to hospital is a difficult thing. A&E is overrun. It is overrun, absolutely. But we need to find other ways. We've got lots of things like urgent treatment centres, walk-in centres. They're not utilised. Our GPs are not utilised. They send you to A&E. They can't be bothered to see you. They send you to A&E. So that's part of the problem. That they're not fixing the problem. They're putting other things in the place of the problem.
Can I ask you a question, if you don't mind? Sorry, I just think it's really interesting, really, because one of the key arguments about the NHS, everyone always says, "Oh, just give it more money." I think, well, where's that money gone? You know, I mean, we gave him 11 billion quid or something the other year. Do you think, as someone who works in the NHS, do you think it needs more money, or do you think it just needs to be run better?
No, it needs to be run better.
Right.
Because we're not asked to make money. We're asked to, meet the money that what's the word? Not meet the money.
I see what you mean. So you're given an amount of money, and there's a feeling you've got to spend it all.
We're told we've got to spend that money.
Right.
Otherwise, we have to give it back, and it gets lost in the system.
That is a great point. That's a brilliant point, and it's good to get that insight. And thank you very much for making it, Christy. Your views.
And you made a really good point about GPs, because actually, if they put that money into GPs, that's the first point of contact. I mean, it's all a complete mess. If you ring NHS 111, their answer for everything is go to A&E. If you go to your GP and they've not got capacity, their answer is go to A&E. If you go to A&E, it's like a war zone. I mean, there's someone like rocking in the corner, foaming at the mouth. There are people like in it's true. There are people in corridors like.
Look, I've apologised for that, Christo. I was having a bad day.
And you don't get seen for so many hours, and then they have the audacity to text you afterwards and say, "Would you recommend this A&E to a friend?"
Oh, yeah.
Go on, JJ. What do you think about this? My worry initially when I first read this headline and things was like, oh gosh, are people, especially maybe some people in the older generation, who are more inclined to go, oh no, it's all right, it's always someone worse off than me, are going to see this and they're going to think, I'm not going to go to A&E, and actually they're having a stroke and having a heart attack or something.
Well, that's exactly what I was just going to say.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, essentially that was my worry, that people who do need to go are going to be put off from wanting to go because they don't want to be. I'm just repeating what you've just said now. So.
Okay. Barry, your views, sorry.
There are two look, I absolutely agree with you. I think there are two things that we need to do. In 2012, you'll remember that they reduced the excess bed numbers in the NHS. That was a huge problem, because actually you need to be able to shunt people round out of A&E, out of the emergency care, into stay beds, and we've not got the capacity to do that. That's the first thing we need to do, is to increase that capacity. That may take some money, but it would be very well spent. The second thing we've got to do is we've got to improve the social care coordination so that we can get people out of hospital quicker to free up those beds. And that way, you begin to get the system moving in a way that A&E will not be overrun as it is now. It's in a terrible state at the moment, you're absolutely right, but I do want to pay tribute to paramedics.
Yes.
The paramedics that came out to my parents-in-law before they died were unbelievable. They were so empathetic. These were 91-year-old, very ill, with dementia. They were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I think paramedics can be given that responsibility to do more, because they're incredibly competent.
All right. Can I just very, very quickly, sorry about something, we're a bit squeezed for time. There is a big problem, isn't there, that everyone seems to be ignoring, which is that one of the reasons why the NHS is on its knees is because of rapid population growth.
Well, certainly there's a huge amount of demand. A huge amount of demand. And you do go to a lot of hospitals and a lot of people who barely speak English using the service. I mean, that is just without a doubt true. So, of course, there's a huge amount of demand. Obviously, people are getting older and they need the NHS as well, much more when you're in your older years. But if there are these same-day treatment centres, if there are these urgent treatment centres that aren't being used enough, well, that should be a huge government campaign to say, you know what, you don't have to go wait for 7 hours in A&E. Go to this same-day treatment centre and you'll receive better care that's more appropriate to your condition. So perhaps there needs to be better communication, because we get these random texts from the NHS and random letters, but I didn't know that myself, that you could just turn up somewhere. So, there you go.
Well done, guys. I want to leave a little bit of time for the last segment, for good reason. You're about to find out. So before that, though, I mean, what is going on here? Tell you what, the sequel to that Robert De Niro film's looking good, isn't it? We're going to be crowning today's Greatest Britain and Union Jackass, and we've got a special surprise coming your way in just a second. Stay tuned. All right.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
But he's getting angry about his pheasants. What's going on?
He's probably got angry about his peasants in the past, but this time we're talking about the bird variety. What has happened is, quite simply, is he's woken up to the fact that a naughty gamekeeper has not kept his eye on the job, and that is there's not enough pheasants around for the usual shoots that the king has various times of the year. Now, this gamekeeper is now no longer a pheasant plucker, as he's been sacked. I was very careful with that. I've been
well done. I'm glad you did that, not me.
All alone. So he's now out of a job, and the king, because he has a lack of pheasants for any guests, he's now considering cancelling a couple of the shoots, which may well be good news for the pheasants, but not so good if you're entertaining various people.
Yeah, I mean, he backs traditional countryside practices like all this, you know, keeping in touch with the rest of us, obviously. I mean, why couldn't he have just got some more birds and release them? I mean, doesn't he do that sort of thing?
He's against all that about bringing in pheasants from other breeders. Because of what you've just said, he's very keen on rearing his own pheasants, and obviously he's got people to do that. And as I say, there's a particular gamekeeper who's clearly taken his eye off the job and has not carried out the breeding program that the king had expected. You know, it's just one of these sort of things that happens. He's not very happy, and you know, there's now a vacancy for a new gamekeeper who can do the job properly.
Yeah, indeed. A royal source who has spoken to The Sun, our old paper, Charles, said, let's just say Charles is well and truly plucked off.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. Thank you very much to everyone in my wonderful audience. It's, for many people, the highlight of the week, actually. It's Greatest Britain Union Jackass time. So I want you all in this audience to decide for me. JJ, we'll start with you. Greatest Britain, please.
The WASPy women. You know about the WASPy women? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So today, they've cleared a big hurdle at the High Court. The government have basically said this can now be looked into properly because they should have been compensated more. So they are my Greatest Britain.
Good for them. Good for the WASPy women. All right, good start. Christo, who's your...
Average clapper, wasn't it?
Well, the man just said... Oh, come on.
I would like to nominate the man who managed to endure one of the most painful experiences in recent politics, the man behind Rachel Reeves. And her speech, well, there he is. And he's trying to endure it.
Come on,
and actually,
quite funny.
it's hilarious. Actually, I've got a GB News exclusive. Oh. I've got here the first draft of Rachel Reeves' speech. Would you like me to read that?
Yeah.
So, OK. We are fixing the foundation...
We've lost him. He's got... Oh, gosh, well...
Where am I? way.
Yeah. All right. Are you okay?
All
then?
right.
Yeah.
Just get that away from me. I can't drive.
I'll take it away.
Or
Take it away.
machinery.
Get it over there. Right. It's gone. It's gone. OK, so there we go. Emily, who's your greatest Britain, please?
Well, it's the Birmingham Bull. Showed great chutzpah, made a name of himself, which most bulls don't, and also Jack Carson as well, our reporter who found him and chased after him.
We've got a clip of the
Made
bull.
sure we knew.
We've got a clip of the bull.
Runaway spirit. So there you go. We're all that bull.
And no one was hurt, by the way. No one was hurt. So, yeah, the bull. Good shout on the bull. Go on, Barry. Who's your greatest Britain, please?
My greatest Britain is Matt Jones, and he was having a hip replacement, and the doctor told him that he should not keep on doing these sports and adventurous walks. And his wife said, well, no chance of that. She said, he'll be doing the Llangollen round with a fridge freezer on his back. That's 70 miles, if you don't know the Llangollen round. She then died.
Oh.
So what did he do? He went out and he did the Llangollen round 70 miles with a fridge freezer on his back in her memory. I think that's amazing.
What a sweet part.
OK, well, not sure how we're going to choose this one.
Got to be the bull,
So we go waspy women, anyone? The man who endured Rachel Reeves. The Birmingham Bull. The man who did the Llangollen round. I'm going to give it to Llangollen round Matt Jones, to be fair. Sorry, Christys.
Do you know how much I just hurt myself doing that? On the floor.
Wow, all right.
Do you know how much he hurt himself doing the Llangollen round?
Right, with ourselves on to Union Jackass. JJ, start with you again. Who's you, Jay?
British people getting caught with drugs abroad. It's like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
happening all the time. Every week, different person. How stupid are they?
Yeah.
I don't think we should get involved. Don't try and bring them back home. Let them rot in jail.
It's all these young women as well.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Cannabis, weed. That's the
It's
same
also
thing,
the fact
isn't
they've stopped trying to bother to hide it. I mean, not that you should, of course. But it's the idea is like, oh, here's a suitcase full of ganja, and it's like, did you not think about... Anyway, right, OK, go on, Chris.
All right, sorry, I'm going to sort of darken the mood a little bit, but obviously we spoke about the absolutely horrific murder of the dog walker Bim Coley. I'm going to do Mr. Justice Turner, the judge that gave them such a horrifically short sentence.
OK, good stuff. Emily?
OK, well, sorry, Barry. It's got to be Ed Miliband. Do we have a little clip of his solar panel extravaganza? OK, basically, this man talks to you like he's a primary school teacher and you are a moron. OK, so that's basically it.
Right, and also he's got a cracking suntan, which makes me wonder, did he go on holiday and how did he get there? But anyway, go on, Barry, very quickly.
The Asda store in Bootle is my Union Jackass.
It's niche.
Because they evacuated the entire store because one man was wearing old-fashioned headphones that had wires coming out of it, and they thought it was a suicide bomb.
Guys, the thing is, we're not going to be able to vote on this tonight now because I've got something very special for you. Now, tonight could change someone's life forever. A single ticket holder might scoop a jaw-dropping £208 million on the Euro Millions, and I want you all to look under your seats, OK? Oh, no, as in touch under your seats, not look physically under your seats. There should be something stuck underneath your seat, on the actual seat itself.
Hang on. On these
I'll
ones?
be honest with you, I thought it was going to be easier. Right, on the actual...
Someone's got one.
Who's got one? So, one person, two. Who's got... There should be an envelope.
Mine says carelessness causes fire.
Yeah, don't rip this. So, there's a lady there who's got one envelope. There should be two. There should be two.
Put that back.
Is that an envelope? Yes, we've got both of them. Right, fantastic. OK, so can everyone sit back down? Thank you very much. I'd just like you to, if you've got one, can you hold it up? Don't tell us what your numbers are. There's a lady there. And is that you, Anton? You got one? Fantastic. Thoroughly deserved. A GBNews regular, to be fair. We didn't know. We didn't know which ones the seats were in. I'm very relieved that Emily's parents haven't got it, because that would have looked dodgy. But anyway, brilliant. So you now might win. You might win £208 million. So if you do, can I have some? Maybe. All right, Anton, can I have some if you win it? Maybe.
I've just had a text from Rachel Reeves. She would like some.
All right, well, good luck, everybody. You never know what you're going to get when you come to Patrick Christys tonight. Make sure you're here next week. Thank you all. Take care.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening, I'm here with your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Whilst there will be a few showers around on Sunday, it's on Saturday when we have the risk of the heaviest, most torrential and thundery downpours because there's a weather system that's coming in from the southwest, a bit of forcing leading to some heavy showery rain that's going to feed its way northeastwards across the bulk of England and Wales as we go overnight. Also some showery bursts pushing in across parts of Northern Ireland and western and southern Scotland. Meanwhile, towards the east and northeast, a greater chance of staying dry with some clear skies, so turning a bit fresh here. Meanwhile, elsewhere, most places holding up in double figures because of the cloud, because of the heavy rain. Now, as we go through tomorrow morning, like I said, a generally dry picture first thing across some parts of northern and eastern Scotland. A few showers may make their way through, but it's going to be until a little bit later on before places here see some downpours. Meanwhile, across western and southern Scotland, a pretty wet start to the day, but across Northern Ireland, some rain not too far away, and it's a similar story across the bulk of England and Wales. By its very nature, showery rain will be a bit hit and miss, so there will be some drier, perhaps even brighter weather around, but always the risk of some torrential downpours pushing through, and the risk of impacts increases as we go through into the afternoon. We could see locally 10 to 15 millimetres of rain in just an hour, and rainfall totals could build up as we go through the day. So across southern parts in particular, likely to see some impacts in places. Also watch out for some frequent lightning and a bit of hail. Then as we go into Sunday, most of the showers will have cleared away. Still some across the far east to begin with. They clear away, and then there will be a scattering of showers following in, particularly across western parts, but many places will have a drier day than on Saturday with a good chance of seeing some bright or sunny spells as well. Into next week, and a changeable theme at least towards the north and west, potentially turning warmer in the south by the middle of the week.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep